Well, we still have some bulbs to plant here, so join me and let's plant some bulbs in January. Hey guys, welcome back to Horticulture Geek. I'm Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today here on the channel. And that's right, I still have bulbs to plant. It is January, and I still have some things that I haven't got into containers yet or into the ground. And these are bulbs that I protected through the big freeze, so they are still good and viable bulbs. But just in case you still have bulbs to plant, and I want to talk about this because I was at a big box store yesterday and they had bulbs still for sale on their clearance rack outside in the garden center area. That's a big no-no because they left those bulbs outside unprotected during the huge Arctic blast that everybody experienced a week or two ago. Okay, when everybody dipped down in the negative temperatures and then it got warmer and dipped back down, and that's not good for a bulb. Okay, some bulbs can handle it, a lot of bulbs can't. Specifically, they had daffodil bulbs still for sale, they had a few tulip bulbs for sale, and then they had some ranunculus corms still for sale. And ranunculus are on corms, not bulbs, but it's the same concept. Ranunculus absolutely cannot freeze. They are not a cold tolerant plant. So basically what that big box store was doing is selling dead product unwittingly. I'm sure whoever they have to hire at that garden center has no idea. But you, as a consumer, have to do your education. So if you come across a good deal right now on bulbs, be very careful. The first thing I did when I saw the display was walked over to the tulip bulbs because they had some beautiful white tulips that may have still been good. This is a bulb right here. This is a hyacinth bulb, not a tulip bulb. Same difference. But looky here. I'm squeezing this bulb and it is a firm bulb. It's not mushy at all. Those daffodil bulbs and tulip bulbs at the big box store that were left unprotected were literally mush. Like when you squeezed it, it just squeezed to mush. So that is your test. If you find bulbs that are on sale, give them a squeeze. If they're mushy, they're done. Do not buy them. If they're still good and firm, they're good to go. Things like ranunculus corms and dahlia tubers, if they've been exposed to a hard freeze like that, they're not going to be good. You can still give it a try if you're willing to give it a try and hope for the best. But I personally would not buy ranunculus corms, dahlia tubers that have been left out in freezing temperatures like that because they just don't like those types of temperatures. So there's my soapbox over for today. So let's get to the business at hand. There's still plenty of time to plant bulbs because we're going to put these in containers and they're going to be just fine. They're still firm. They're still viable bulbs. They still want to live. So I've got 2 containers today that we're going to be potting up with bulbs. One of them, if you just watched my last video where we repotted a house plant, I'm going to be using the old pot that old fiddly fig was in. I'm going to be putting some bulbs in it. And then I have finally cleaned out the iron urn that sets on top of the pedestal right over there in the garden. 2 videos or 3 videos ago when I did my garden cleanup, so 2 videos ago when I did my garden cleanup video, if you watched that, you saw me, I pulled all the dead branches and stuff out of the pot, but I didn't pull the roots out of the pot. So I have since now gone back and cleaned all the dirty old soil. And none of that soil was salvageable because this plant has such a shallow root base and I had such vigorous annuals in there that this was a solid root ball in this pot and there was nothing left of that dirt. It was done, it was worthless, so I didn't even bother sifting it out or trying to save it. But if you're interested in saving soil, 3 videos ago we talked about that, so I've got a video for you there. But today all we're going to be doing, super simple, is putting fresh potting soil into these pots and then putting our bulbs in. All bulbs have a top and a bottom. So if this is your first bulb video, let's do a quick how-to. So all bulbs have a top and a bottom. Bulbs like hyacinths, tulips, daffodils are easy because they're kind of teardrop shaped. And you know your point. And this one's really good because if I get in there, it's got a green tip, okay? So our pointy end goes up. And this ring right here, you can see some little hairy, fibrous roots. That's our roots. Roots go down, all right? So there you go, roots down, growth up. So we're gonna put these in the container just like that. So now then, let me back the camera up, show you the two containers. We'll start putting some dirt in here and getting some bulbs placed. Here we go. Okay, so now then I've got the container about halfway full of soil. Obviously I don't want to fill it all the way up because then I would have to dig holes to plant my bulbs. So we're just gonna put a small layer on the bottom. Now then, I want you to take note of the shape of this pot, okay? I've talked about this in previous videos as well. But when you have containers like this where the inside flares out like that, okay? When you're putting bulbs into your pots, do not shove the bulb, let me do it right here, so you can see, don't shove the bulb up into that crevice, because what's gonna happen is when it starts to grow, it's growing right into the pot. It doesn't have an opening to come out. So we wanna pull that bulb out so that it has clearance to grow out of the soil. So make sure if you have a container like this where it bubbles or bowls out, that you're not impeding the growth of your bulbs. Get them out into open space, okay? The second thing is bulbs like to eat. Bulbs are heavy feeders, and you can buy a product like Bulb Tone, which is specifically blended to feed bulbs, or I'm just gonna be using Biotone. Biotone is a good all-purpose starter fertilizer, and this is an all-purpose container mix, so it's got some good nutrients in it as well. But I'm just gonna go ahead and put a sprinkling of Biotone in this container as well. So as these bulbs root out, they're gonna have plenty to feed on, and then they can produce me the best flowers and blooms possible. All right, so we've got that done. So now then, I'm just gonna take my hyacinth bulbs and I am going to put them around this container. All right, so now that I've got them evenly spaced around the container, I've just kind of got them in a ring. I've got some tulip bulbs that I'm gonna come in with. And I'm just going to fill in the center void of this container with tulip bulbs. So let me get those in, and then I'll bring you in up close for a look. All right, so here you can see I've got my ring of ranunculus bulbs on the outside with plenty of clearance to get up out of the soil. And then I've got these tulip bulbs in the center. All of these bulbs were left over from other bulb planting projects, so they're perfect. I just worked out perfect math here to fill this container. So this will be a beautiful container come spring. All right, so now I've just got to bury them up the rest of the way and then get it back on the pedestal and let it do its thing so we can have some beautiful spring blooms. All right, that is it for this container. So my bulbs are all snugged in, planted up, ready to go. Now, since we're so late in the winter already, I did not go and try to find anything to put in the top of this container. Normally, I like to put pansies or ornamental cabbages or kales or something fun for the winter in the tops of these containers. I'm going to forego that at this point. At this point, I'm just hoping to get my bulbs rooted in and going so that I have a good spring show of bulbs. So now all that's left to do is to move this guy back over to its pedestal and put him in his home so he can start doing his thing and growing me some beautiful blooms for the spring. All right, so that leaves us with this container, much smaller container, but still perfect for putting some bulbs in, because this I can tuck on a tabletop at the patio or set at the front porch or on the front door. So small containers with bulbs are absolutely a wonderful thing that you can tuck into corners of the garden. So here we go, same concept, a little dirt, little biotone, some bulbs, and then we fill it up. Here we go. All right, this one's good to go. All right, I have 4 bulbs left out of this package. And I just recently picked up this terracotta pot. I actually picked up several of these at IKEA. When I went on a trip to IKEA, they have these very fun, sleek, contemporary terracotta pots. So I like going to IKEA for these. So I'm just going to put these other 4 bulbs into this pot. So here we go. All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap up this video for today, planting some bulbs. I hope you've enjoyed coming along for this quick video. It's still not too late. Just remember, if you're going to try to buy things off the clearance rack, check them first. Don't trust that they're going to be good, especially at a big box store. I would hope a local, reputable garden center would not do that to you. They should have the staff to know what bulbs are good or not, and they should just discard those things that are bad. But be an educated consumer. Don't fall into the trap of seeing a 50 or 75 or 90% off clearance rack on bulbs and getting something that's never going to grow. Don't waste your money on stuff like that. But if you find something that is viable, or if you still have bulbs in your stash that are viable, get them planted. There's still time. Don't let them set in your garage and rot. You know, if you got them on hand, get them planted. You can still do that. That was really the whole point of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe it inspired you to get out and get to planting. I've got 2 more bulb bags to plant here, and then I will be officially done in the Horticulture Geek Garden planting bulbs for the 2023 spring season. But I'm going to do that a different day. I won't put those into this video. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below, and I'll be glad to answer them as best as I can. But until next time, guys, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.